Hey guys, Thomas the Jr. here, aka Mustached Tom, here to review the movie Cars 3. Now, after seeing the first initial trailer for this movie, I was a bit excited, but as time drew nearer and closer to the movie's release, newer trailers were put out, and my level of excitement kinda actually went down after seeing its sort of lighthearted, and more typical Cars traditional way of being that trilogy of movies. Now, Cars, the first movie was fine enough, and yeah, I'm kind of on the same boat that the second movie didn't really do as much as I thought it was going to do, and I thought that Cars 3 was definitely going to be easily the comeback for this new trilogy. So I went into this movie sort of, I don't know, half expecting it to be good and half expecting it to be just like the first Cars movie. And after the first initial crash, which happens pretty early in the movie, we see that in the teaser trailer. That being Lightning McQueen, like he was racing, he was winning, he was doing all the stuff with all these other racers that he knew, and sometimes he wouldn't necessarily win, but he was cool and he let other guys have the moment when they won. But this new racer came about named Jackson Storm, and he was the new top guy, and of course along with him came all these other new racers. So in that way, Jackson Storm became the new uh, sort of rival of McQueen, and he set Lightning McQueen to have this sort of attitude where he felt he needed to push himself far beyond his limits at that point in time. So the trailer was actually a bit misleading because the way it's shot, at least in the trailer, it made it seem like Jackson Storm was the one to actually push Lightning out of the way, causing the crash. But no, it was actually Lightning who did it to himself. It was him pushing himself to the limit and then uh, falling over. Now, oddly enough, the movie just sort of skips ahead to when he's sort of, well, not completely 100% better, but he's just fine. Like, he's not the, of course, he's not the best racer anymore at this point in time, but, it doesn't show him trying to get back, or, like, there's no, like, scene of him getting repaired or anything like that. So, anyways, uh, after seeing that, and after seeing his pals retire and getting in that wreck, he finally sees that the Hudson Hornet, his old trainer, had pretty much lost control in the very same way he did. And he has a chat with Sally. And of course, unfortunately, we have to have Mater in the movie. He is, to me at least, the weak point of this entire movie. I never really liked him as a character, even in the first movie, to be honest. And he's just there for the younger audience, and it really is old. I'm sorry. It he's a character that just sort of, I feel like it kind of actually ruins the movie just a little bit. I wouldn't say it destroys the movie in any way, but it does slow the movie down significantly, unfortunately. Uh, at any rate, of course, Lightning still wants to keep racing, so he wants to train. Uh, so he gets this new sponsor, and this guy's supposedly a super fan and has all this stuff of Lightning. And he also gets this new trainer named Cruz, who has an interesting way of training, that's to be sure. And as they go out after after Lightning's fail at this whole simulation thing, he decides that he's going to try other ways of training. And at first, he goes to the beach, and this causes him to almost start training her, which is actually pretty interesting. And it does set up what happens at the end of the movie. So I actually do appreciate this part where he's trying to go fast, and then she's sort of falling behind and whatnot, and then it's like I said, it's him training her. So that is a very interesting part of the movie, for what this movie does. So they move on to Thunder Hollow, which is sort of this demolition derby style of racing, and after everything, all the commotion is done with, you have your all these various cars destroying each other. She actually ends up winning, and after they sort of have that moment, we have that moment in the movie where there's this sort of cast of doubt, that sort of old cliche, and in this case, it's Lightning sort of getting off on her about her not being a racer, not knowing what it's like, and she talks about her backstory of how she always wanted to be a racer, but when the time came to actually go for it, she sort of backed down and never had the opportunity to actually race. So, after that moment, he has that low moment, and then he talks with Mater some more about something or other. And then he sort of catches up to her, and the moment actually is pretty quick. So that is an upside to this, where he does this whole music thing that she did to him, and then he meets Smokey, and apparently this was the Hudson's trainer, and he meets all these other legends who just pretty much say what they have to say. They don't mince words. They just speak honestly. And Smokey shares this story of how Doc was happiest actually when he was training Lightning McQueen, and that sort of sparked a new interest in him, that being Lightning. So after that, Smokey starts training with him, as well as with along Cruz, and they start training in the forest and without their headlights. And after that, I believe there was like one final race between Lightning and Cruz, where Lightning thought he had the victory all set, and then Cruz comes up and wins, and then he has that cast of doubt, interestingly, right before the final race. And I actually thought that was actually pretty refreshing, like a second cast of doubt, but this one actually happened right before the final race. I actually thought that was interesting, so yeah. Anyway, the final race starts, and of course, Lightning McQueen starts off the race. He gets past a few guys, and when they go in to take a pit stop, he decides that he's gonna call back Cruz because the sponsor guy made her leave. So he calls her back in, and apparently he gets her all set up to start racing with his number, and apparently this is a thing that they can do. I never knew this. I don't know racing that well. I don't know if that's actually a thing, if you can take another car's spot with the same number. I don't know. I really don't know if that's a thing. But anyways, Cruz ends up doing it. She takes in the lead for Lightning. Lightning becomes the trainer, essentially, after a few moments with Smokey there being the trainer. But Lightning takes over. Cruz starts to catch up to Jackson Storm, and she does the same thing Lightning did with the whole flipping over the car, flipping over Jackson, that is, and apparently the Hudson Hornet did that too. So the sort of legacy of doing this sort of car flip move is what set these three apart from their competitors, I guess. So that is their sort of legacy move, I guess. Anyways, Cruz wins the race, and after that, we see that Lightning decides to get a paint job after Cruz is all like on the Springfield or whatever the town was called, and she's gonna start training for the next race, I guess. And then Lightning has the paint job of oh, what's his name? The Hudson Hornet. So yeah, and that is Cars 3. It is an interesting movie. I thought there was gonna be a few more like slow moments of like him trying to get back into it, but it seems like it's a little bit more casual than that. Of course, I just get past the Mater moments, and I think this movie is still fine as it is. Uh, like I said, I do appreciate the second slowdown, the second sort of doubt yourself moment, and it actually does lead to that satisfying conclusion where it sort of passes down the torch. So yeah, it's an interesting movie. I actually did enjoy it. I would say it's better than Cars 2, so that's a good thing. Uh, and other than that, there isn't much else to say. I'd say I'd actually just give it a 6 out of 10, and I know that doesn't seem high, but I don't know, something about those slow moments where like you have to just unfortunately get through Mater's stuff, and it just slows down the movie a bit too much for me. But the rest of it is absolutely fine. You know, I'm sure this movie made its money because it's Cars. So there's that. And who knows, maybe there might be some movie down in the future. I'm pretty sure if they found success with this movie, Cars 3, there will probably be a Cars 4 with Cruise taking the lead. Most likely, at this point in time, with how they set this movie up for Lightning to be the trainer. So that's that. And with that, that ends my review. So if you enjoyed it, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, everyone, bye!